Min Young is 17. She lives in Hyesan, a small town in North Korea. It's located right at the Yalu River, the natural border to China. Across the ice, Min Young can see the other side. Freedom is so close, yet so far. North Korean soldiers are nearby, patrolling the area. Min Young takes a deep breath of cold air. Then she makes her first step onto the ice, not knowing that this will be the beginning of an incredible 7-year journey. North Korea is notorious for the oppression of its people and its poor human rights record. Under Kim Jong-un, it became even harder for citizens to escape. There are more fences, more guards, and since a few years, there is a new order to shoot on sight. Yet, every year, hundreds of North Koreans risk their lives to flee their country. Weeks of grueling desert treks, months in detention camps, and years in hiding, all in the pursuit of freedom. Geographically, North Korea shares borders with Russia, China, and South Korea. Most North Korean refugees want to get to South Korea. There is the shared language and cultural heritage. Most importantly, South Korea actively welcomes defectors from the North with a citizenship. If you look at the map, the direct route to South Korea might seem the easiest, but in reality, very few manage to escape through this path. In between the countries lies a demilitarized zone, and it is one of the most dangerous borders in the world. Oh Chang-sung is one of the ones who managed to get through. In 2017, he made a daring escape through the DMZ. Created after the Korean War, the DMZ is only demilitarized by name. It is heavily fortified with armed guards constantly observing each other. On a quiet Monday afternoon, the tense silence of the DMZ is suddenly disturbed. Someone is trying to escape. Driving a military jeep at high speed, Oh Chang-sung races towards the border. Surveillance footage by the South Korean military captures the intense pursuit. He abandons his car and continues on foot. North Korean soldiers fire multiple shots, hitting him several times. But Oh Chang-sung manages to cross the demarcation line. Collapsing behind a wall on the South Korean side, he endures for hours until South Korean soldiers rescue him. Escaping through the DMZ is extremely rare. Survival chances are near zero. Another rare, extremely dangerous escape route to the south is by sea. Somewhere along the southeast coast, a North Korean man enters the ocean. The man is in his mid-20s and equipped with fins and a diving suit. Swimming for over 6 hours and covering more than 3 kilometers, he reaches the South Korean shore near the town of Goseong. Despite being caught on surveillance cameras, South Korean forces only find him later, resting under a tree. He turns out to be a North Korean fisherman seeking asylum. The tides had worked in his favor. Presumably, the man had prior knowledge of the sea conditions. Without, he probably would have drowned. Defecting this way, too, is near impossible. Only a handful of people have succeeded through this route. Similarly, it is extremely rare that North Koreans defect to Russia. The border is heavily guarded, and the river is too deep to cross. The few people publicly known for defecting to Russia are privileged or high-ranking citizens who manage to cross with the help of their connections. Creating 3D animations like this requires a solid understanding of physics and mathematics. A great place to develop these skills is Brilliant. Brilliant makes learning intuitive and engaging, offering interactive lessons in math, programming, AI, and science. Their hands-on approach turns complex concepts into an exciting learning experience. For instance, their course Exploring Data Visually teaches you how to interpret and visualize data, just like the statistics we often use in our videos. And if that's not your thing, there are plenty of other fascinating topics to explore. Brilliant adapts to your current skill level and helps you progress at your own pace. Try Brilliant for free for 30 days by scanning the QR code or visiting brilliant.org/fern. Plus, you'll get 20% off an annual premium subscription. The link is also in the description. By checking out Brilliant, you're not only investing in your learning, you're also supporting our channel. The most promising path for North Korean defectors is through China. The two countries are divided by 2 rivers, the Yalu and the Tumen. Some sections are shallow and waist deep. In winter, these rivers offer a rare opportunity. The water freezes solid. For those desperate enough, crossing over the ice might seem deceptively simple. Crossing is just the beginning. The real danger lies on the Chinese side, where defectors face constant threats of capture and repatriation. Min Young grew up in a modest home overlooking the Yalu River. From her backyard, she can see the hazy outline of Chinese villages. Her family is relatively privileged. They don't starve. Her father, a traveling salesman, frequently crosses into China for business, while her mother works for the government. In her free time, the mother makes extra cash by trading smuggled goods from China. This is a common practice for North Koreans that live near the border. The poor economic conditions increasingly drive them to find additional income. Life changes dramatically when Min Young is 14. It's the year 1994. One day, she returns from school to find her father missing. He has been arrested on his way back from China, accused of bribery and corruption. The family suspects he was tortured during his interrogation. Months later, he dies in a hospital. Min Young, her mother, and her little brother are left alone, devastated. Disillusioned, Min Young begins questioning the contradictions she saw around her at an early age. The suffering during the famine, the lies in state propaganda, and the harsh realities of survival all build up to a pivotal point. At the age of 17, she makes the life-changing decision to leave North Korea. In under a minute, she crosses to the Chinese side, her heart pounding. Her plan is to visit relatives up north. She seeks a Chinese smuggler who lives by the river. He frequently trades goods with Min Young's mother, and she trusts him. He agrees to drive her into the sprawling city of Shenyang. For the first time, Min Young experiences a world vastly different from the one she had just left behind. Bright lights, bustling streets, and the abundance of food and goods leaves her overwhelmed. Weeks go by and she turns 18 years old. She wants to return to North Korea, back to her family, but then she gets a sudden phone call from her mother. Rumors of her disappearance have spread across town. People suspect she might have left the country. Coming back would be too dangerous now. Her family fears retaliation for letting Min Young escape. So Min Young's mother urges her to stay in China and live freely. Min Young remains in Shenyang. She begins working in a restaurant and learns Mandarin. She lives in constant fear of being caught and adopts several new names to evade detection. One day, two men enter the restaurant. They ask for her and flash their badges. It's the police. They take her away. It's over, she thinks. This is the end. At the station, they question her relentlessly and demand she complete a written Chinese test to prove her fluency. She does so, hands shaking, constantly at the verge of a panic attack. But she passes the test. It's a narrow escape. Had the officers doubted her, she would have been deported to North Korea without a doubt. Everything she risked, every moment of her struggle, would have been for nothing. Later, she learns that someone she trusted with her secret reported her to the authorities. In 2002, she takes the train to Shanghai. It marks the beginning of a new chapter in her life. In the megacity, she meets a broker who provides her with a new identity. She spends her entire savings on this ID. With it, she secures a job as an interpreter